This is the Work Your Money podcast with host Michelle Wong right here at the South Jersey Real Estate Investment Association. Hi guys, this is the Work Your Money podcast with host Michelle Wong. I have a great guest, Marc Halpern.
Yes.
Saying it right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And you're from Part-Time Investors?
Correct.
Awesome. So let's get started. That sounds very interesting. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a successful part-time investor. I actually have a PhD in organic chemistry, and I do real estate investing on the side. I've achieved financial freedom and a very high degree of happiness. And what I do is I help people achieve that as well. I teach people how to achieve a high level of happiness and prosperity. We actually have metrics for both happiness and prosperity in terms of starting point and goals. And then once you know your starting points and goals, then you can figure out the most efficient path to get from where you are today to where you need to be.
Okay, and how long have you been doing this?
I've been doing part-time investing, since 1987, but seriously, I've been doing it very seriously since about 2004.
2004, okay.
And I've been teaching this about the same amount of time. But Part-Time Investors LLC is relatively new as an entity, and I'm going to be going national at the end of next month. I'm writing a book for the National RIA, and my lectures are going to be as a part of the professional housing providers continuing education. So I have a home study course of 20 hours, more than 20 hours of lectures on flipping and landlording and self-improvement and wholesaling and lease option. And I pretty much cover just about everything in real estate investing, private lending, all kinds of other stuff like that. So that's what I do.
Well, that's pretty good because I think that, I guess real estate, the investment component of it has become more trendy per se in the past few years. I guess after 2000 it picked up, and then after the crash I think that certain people were having a little bit of like pulling their hair, trying to figure out what they're going to do if they're in the real estate industry, and then they started to go into investment and they found like different avenues where they can also have something there as a nest egg for retire and kind of enjoy the fruits of their labor.
Yes. Yeah. In fact, membership in RIAs is countercyclical. So what happens is that from 2000, and I wrote a book on real estate investing, a 498-page book, 80 pages on market cycle and affordability, and I actually analyzed the market cycles of 82 cities across the United States, and we found several interesting things. But there were 4 different behaviors in the United States, but in the Northeast, what we had rapid appreciation. We actually had rapid appreciation in the 80s, no appreciation in the 90s, and then from the 2000 2007 we had rapid appreciation. 2008 2011 was a downturn, and then it stabilized a little bit and it's been coming back in the last few years. So what happens is that as the real estate market is worse in the public's eye, it's better for investors because we can pick up more properties.
Yes,
so what happens is that we can tell what's happening in the real estate market by the membership of the RIAs. So I've been through all the cycles, to the seller's market, the buyer's market, and the balance market. And right now we are in South Jersey, we're in a mild seller's market. We are not in a strong seller's market, we're in a mild seller's market. But we were in a moderately strong buyer's market from 2008 2011, and a balanced market from 2012 to maybe for about 2 or 3 years.
Okay, and the amount of the increase of people that have signed up to be investors and being part of the association, how have you seen that in the past year in 2017?
Yeah, so definitely a lot of new faces. I give a lot of lectures. I've been giving lectures here at South Jersey Investors since 2005. Actually, in 2007, I gave a lecture. There were a bubble in the South Jersey real estate market. I typically give half a dozen to a dozen lectures per year here in South Jersey Investors. And it used to be I would walk into a room and I would know 75% of the people.
Amazing.
And now I walk into, if I'm giving a lecture, there's 70 people in the audience, I might know 10 of them.
Wow.
So there's a lot of turnover, but it also means there's a lot of new people that are tire kickers. Actually, half the membership will probably never buy a house.
Yeah.
And so the way it breaks down is usually less than 10%. I've given lectures in many RIAs around the country, and usually 10% or less are full-time investors. About half are part-time investors like I am. So the number of part-time investors is usually 5 to 10 times greater than the full-time investors, and then the rest are tire kickers that like the idea, but there's either a confidence issue or some skills issue or resource issue or something like that. I help the people that want to be part-time investors, either on purpose or on the way up to becoming a full-time investors. And a lot of full-time investors, a lot of my coaching clients are full-time investors that want to go back down to part-time investing because the lifestyle is not as it's not as glamorous as it's supposed to be. I would say half the full-time investors love what they do, and the other half, they just can't take it anymore. And it's just the way it is. Whereas part-time investors, a lot of us are much happier because we control our lives. I control my finances and my financial freedom and my happiness and my family. It's I have a lot of control over my life, and it's a good thing. You get that with part-time investing. Full-time investing, you're more at the mercy of the market. You really have to be churning the whole time if that's your full-time occupation.
Yeah, it depends on how passive or how aggressive you want to be with investing. So that's you yourself have to know how aggressive you want to be, and then from there, take it and not over-analyze like some people do. They just analyze it, but they never pull the trigger.
Exactly. So I'm a ready, aim, fire person. So you have ready, fire, aim, which is terrible. Then you have ready, aim, never pull the trigger. Then you have ready, aim, fire, which is a lot of the full-time investors. But as a part-time investor, because I'm a chemist, I'm very thorough about things. I'm ready, aim, and then I pull the trigger and I fire. I have a home study course called the Smarter Investing Home Study Course, and the reason why it's smarter is because my goal, which I've achieved in every one of the last 7 years, is to make $100,000 or more as a part-time investor, in addition to the income that I have in my chemistry technology business. So I don't have to do real estate, which is really good. And I have another business, which is good. But people that do it full time, they have to do the business, and that's why they almost have full-time investors. They don't have to be aggressive, but if they're not aggressive, it's a grow or die situation. Whereas a part-time investor doesn't have to do that. So I figured out how to do this with pretty much 2 to 3 months of work done mostly by other people, plus about 5 hours a week of work done by myself to manage my small portfolio of rentals, because I never ever want to have more than 10 tenants, and I've achieved financial freedom, which is defined as having a passive income that meets or exceeds your routine expenses, and the liquid portion of your net worth has to exceed the reasonably predictable special expenses. And I teach that in my course, and I do that in my coaching as well.
Amazing. Okay, so for our viewers out there, they're interested to get started with real estate and they want to learn more, how can they reach you?
Okay, yes, so again, my name is Marc Halpern. You can reach me. The easiest thing is to go to the website at www.parttimeinvestors.com. So that's parttimeinvestors.com. And what you will find there, besides our home study course, is really the way to start. Instead of me doing some self-promotion, let me just talk a little about the way these things should be. Because different people are different people have different ages, different incomes, different credit scores, different stage of life, different amount of debt, different available time, then people have to decide which one or more of the real estate investment strategies they want to choose between buy, fix, and sell, buy, rent, and hold, lease option, and wholesaling. So really what everybody really should do in order to be most effective to achieve their goals is they really need to define what are their starting points and goals for both happiness and prosperity. And then once they do that, then they take a look, and then they will customize a plan for themselves to choose between buy, fix, and sell, buy, rent, and hold, lease option, and wholesaling, or some mixture of that, and then figure out how it can fit into their lives. So I'm a very strong believer in defining starting point, defining goals, measurable. You can even measure happiness, and then coming up with strategically the best plan. Or else, if you don't do that, what most people do, and most people in the room do, is they waste 1 to 2 decades of a 3 to 4 decade run. We get about 3 to 4 decades of adulthood where we can really, crank it through. And people waste 1 or 2 decades because they don't have a good strategic plan. So again, you go to parttimeinvestors.com, you can find my home study course that goes through all this information, covers all 4 investment strategies, it covers the real estate investment strategies, the personal strategies, how to measure happiness, how to improve personal performance, how to overcome barriers to buying your first next property. There's a whole lot of good stuff in there, very analytical, very, very detailed. and then you could. So the most important thing to do is to figure out where you're at, figure out where you want to go, figure out the best way of getting there, and then I can help through my home study course, the Smart Investing Home Study course, as well as the all the other programs that I have with the Smart Investing course and my coaching, of course, as well. So this is Marc Halpern from Part-Time Investors LLC, and the website again is www.parttimeinvestors.com.
So there you have it, guys. This is the Work Your Money podcast. Until the next time, bye, guys.